Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the FRA Radio podcast. I'm your host, Claudine, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, Megan Brown. I'm assuming most of you will know who Megan is, as she used to host the podcast before I did. But for those of you who don't, would you like to introduce yourself for everyone?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Megan. I used to work here as the marketing assistant. I have also studied the level 3 fashion retail and business course, and then I went on to the degree course, and I'm like 3 weeks away from finishing now, which is scary.
Okay, so do you want to talk a little bit about like your time at FRA? And
Yeah,
how it's been
sure.
here?
My first 2 years here was in the previous building, and it was literally the best 2 years ever. Like straight from secondary school to here, I met like the bestest of friends. I would go back and do level 3 fashion, business and retail again and again if I could. Like it was just so fun. And then I think I was 18. No, I wasn't even 18 yet when we'd finished. I was 17, and I was just like, I hadn't really prepped anything to do next. I was like, I feel like I'm really young to go in the workplace. I just don't feel experienced whatsoever. Uni was the second thing on the cards, but I never wanted to sort of move out. I didn't want to like leave and be at uni for like 3 or 4 years. No one in my family's ever gone to uni, so it just like it never really occurred to me to do that. But then when I found out about the FRA and that it was only 2 years and I could stay here, like it wasn't really like too much out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
It would have been a different course and different teachers, but it was still like the same building. So I was like, I think I'm going to do this. And from the level 3 course, I had discovered that I liked marketing the most. I was like really put off by buying, wasn't interested in visual merchandising. Like it's just not really like even a thing anymore, I don't think. So marketing was the only thing I was sort of interested in. So I was like, I may as well just do the degree in marketing. And when I looked on the website and saw all the modules, I saw like the digital and social media marketing, and I was like, I'll just pick this then. Like that was the only module that interested me. So I just picked it, and I then joined in the next September. Well, no, the same September. So I had the summer holidays, and I also did apply for the business degree as well, because my friend at the time, she also applied for the business degree, but also applied for one at LCF, and I think she got into both, but she picked LCF, and I was like, I don't want to go to a place like that. Like that's too big.
Yeah.
Like I'm not interested. I'm going to stay with the FRA. So I did that, and then I made a whole new load of friends. And I've literally enjoyed my degree so much. It's going to be really sad leaving, mainly because I've been here for so long.
Yeah.
And education is certainly like a comfort blanket. Like I can certainly see why people like stay and do like masters and like just continue to be in education, because it is all, you know, like when you think about it, like literally been in education since you were like 4 years old, and now I'm like 20. So it's like scary to leave, but at the same time I do feel ready just to like get a full-time job and get some proper money in, and just experience like the real world. But I have, like I said, loved my degree. The modules have been sort of like up and down. The first few modules like weren't really my favourite. Like I do sort of like say that year 1, like year 2 is so much better basically. Like it just gets better and better. The modules get better. You sort of like form better like relationships with your teachers, and also you just like learn what is expected of you more, because the shift from level 3 into the degree like is very different. And it literally took me like probably like 4 modules to actually get into the swing of like what's expected, how the briefs are given, how you're expected to like display your work. The amount of independence was like crazy, and it's only like now that I'm like with my teachers all the time, like having the one-to-ones, because at the time like I just sort of didn't, and I just would like go home. If we had the opportunity to go home, like I wouldn't stay and like really understand my work, and then that sort of did like reflect in my grades. They weren't bad at all, but like they weren't as like good as I wanted them to be. So definitely in year 2, when it like really, really counts, I have sort of taken a bit of a different approach, and that has mainly been because of like work as well. I've actually been able to take a different approach because when I was in your role, it was quite like I kind of put that first, like anyone probably would, and I don't regret that, because it was in year 1 where it was like
you could,
and like everyone's grades are fluctuating because like you're getting used to like this new way of learning. But like in year 2, I really wanted to sort of knuckle down. And when I got the job with Ben, the working from home was like, it really did suit because I was able to stay on top of my uni work. And now that I'm freelance, which we'll go into, I've been able to stay on top of it like even more. Like I literally do not get stressed about my uni work anymore, which is like such a blessing.
Yeah.
But it's just down to like how I control like my freelance workload that I can really prioritize this in these last 3 weeks, which is literally so scary. But yeah, that's sort of like what my time's been like at the FRA. And when it comes to like getting my marketing assistant role here, it was one of my old teachers who taught me in level 3. She like came up to me. It was when we was in the old building, and there was like a square called like Rathbone Square where everyone used to like go eat their lunch, and I was in there, and she was like, Megan, like, have you seen there's like a job advert for the girl at the time was Ellie. She was like, Ellie's leaving, like it's her role. And I was like, what? Like, oh my God, okay. And there was like a poster like on the lift, and I still have a picture of it now, and I took a picture of the poster, and it was like marketing assistant, like wanted or needed or whatever, like 3 days a week. And yeah, I just literally applied. You needed to do like a video. Yeah. So I did a video, and I did like a SWOT analysis like on the FRA's current social media, as well as your CV, I think. And at the time I was working in a shop. I worked for Reese, which I really loved. And I had 2 interviews. I had one with just the media manager, which was like a really informal chat. And then I sort of like from that obviously got to like the next stage. And then I had a bit more of a formal chat with both the media manager and then the head of marketing. And then, I mean, I think it was like a few days or maybe like a week later, they were like, we'd love to offer you the position. And I was like, oh my God. And that moment is when like everything changed. Yeah. Like pretty much most of like my sort of success has been purely because of that role. Yeah. So I will like forever be grateful for that role, and it's got me where I am now. But yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, that's literally exactly how I feel about it as well, actually. What would you say was like your favourite part like about the role, being a marketing assistant here?
My favourite time was like moment when we moved to a lecture house. So I was able to be a part of like in the summer, we were obviously still at like Oxford Street, and then we were making the move in September. So there was a lot of things going on. We had like the lecture house like opening party that I was able to be a part of, which was really cool. I just remember September being like the busiest month ever, because not only was I going back into year 2, we had this lecture house party. I think I had like this podcast with someone that I was like really excited to film with. And then me and the media manager were invited to the Maybe event. And that was in September as well. And I just remember that was like the craziest month ever. Yeah. So probably having opportunities like that was the best bit about the role.
Yeah. How was the Maybe event? Was it good?
It was good. Yeah, it was, feels like a long time ago now. It kind of like showed to me that like influencing is just like a whole nother world. It's literally like some sort of cult. And I just remember like walking in there, like everyone I saw, like I've watched on YouTube, I've seen their Instagram, like it was crazy. I didn't feel like, well, I did feel a little bit out of place because a lot of those people knew each other already. Yeah. And like me and Amber were just like, we're here from the FRA. But it was really cool. Yeah, it was an amazing opportunity.
Yeah. And so then because obviously once you finished working here as a marketing assistant, you then moved on to Lux Collective. So like, how did that come about?
So I worked my marketing assistant role for over a year, maybe like a year and a half. And then it was sort of September, October time, Ben Gallagher started a podcast called Everybody Wants to Be Us. And I like remember putting it on my story and like tagging him saying like, oh my God, this is like the best episode I've listened to in a while, something like that. And he just responded and was like, oh, thank you so much. Like, anything else you want to hear on the podcast? Like, just ask for some like feedback, I think. And I he sort of knew who I was from then on. Yeah. And then it was like November, I just got a random DM from him saying like, I need someone to like post these clips on this podcast account on TikTok, like, and I think it was Instagram as well. Yeah, like, would you do that, like freelance work, and I'll pay you? And it was like my first ever like offer of doing any freelance. I was like, oh my God, like, what do I do? How much do I charge? Like, do I tell anyone? Yeah. But it was from then on that I sort of like made that sort of relationship with him, and I used to do that just like in the evenings, and I can't remember how much he paid me. I literally only got one. I did it for like 1 month, because then in December he stopped it because, well, I'll tell you, it will come to why he stopped it, but like it just sort of died down. Like, and at the time I just thought, he basically said, I'm gonna put it on pause. He called me like I think it was like the 2nd of January. I'm gonna put it on pause for now because I just need to like prioritize Lux Collective and like that the brand's marketing strategy. So I was like, yeah, fair enough. Still had my job at FRA, so I sort of didn't think much
stress.
of it. And then he sort of said, would you want to have a permanent position at Lux Collective? And I was like, oh my God. And I definitely wanted to say like yes, because I sort of felt like I was ready for something new. I wanted to do something different. And also for like a brand like that at the time, it was really like flattering to like be able to work with a brand that like was quite popular, and especially like on social media as well, which at the time was something that like I was like, really I want to be in social. So like working for such like a social first brand was like really cool. So it was sort of like a no-brainer that I was going to say yes. But I didn't let that on just yet. Sort of asked him a few questions, because obviously their HQ was in Liverpool, and I'm down here in London. So, but he lived in London, so we sort of would meet up in London, and that's how it worked. 3 days a week, like working from home, sometimes in London, like I said. And at the time, like it just felt like the best deal ever. So I sort of told my media manager, I was like, I've been offered like a job, and she was like, oh my God, like that's amazing, like obviously
go
so
for
happy
it
for you, like you need to take that. So I left here in, I can't remember now, Feb I think I left, which was like really sad. And now I look back, I really went to a completely different working environment, and I definitely learned that there's just some like non-negotiables that I want to look for when I next look for a job. And I sort of come from quite a big corporation here, like there's a big office up there. You know, there's at the time it was a team of 20 in the marketing team, like, and then I went to Ben and it was literally a team of 3. Like it was from 100 to 0, and you know, no office space, working from home, quite remote. And like, unfortunately, I just didn't really like that in the end, and I just felt really isolated. I sort of wasn't getting out the house, which I just didn't really like. And also, he was sort of like my main port of contact. So when like he would need to like send me stuff, and because he's so busy, like if he hadn't sent it, I couldn't work. So it was just all a bit all over the place, really. But I had a really nice time, and I learned a lot, and I got to do some cool opportunities. And I worked there for about 3 months, and then things were starting, now I look back, things were starting to like quieten down. And he called me on, I think I literally still remember the date. It was on the like 30th of April, I remember, and he called me and he was just like, I need to talk to you quickly, like a quick company update. And I was like, okay, didn't really think too much of it. Anyway, he phoned me and he basically was like, he cut straight to the chase and he was like, we're going into liquidation. Everyone's been made redundant, you know, you can stop working for Lux Collective, like you will be paid, but like, yeah, it's like shutting down. And I was like, oh my God, are you okay? Because I was more worried about that than like me at the time.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's such a hard conversation to have with everyone. And also he was like, I just feel really relieved. And I think he had probably known for a while that maybe
it was going south.
Right. And he sort of had to like keep this facade up that things were okay, but actually they probably weren't underneath. So I think he did feel a sense of relief telling everyone. But yeah, I was like sad. Like my sister comes home at lunch because she like works nearby, and she walked through the door and I was like, I've just lost my job. Like, I don't know what has just happened. And I was like, again, like all on my own, like I text my mom, but like she's at work. And I was like, what the hell do I do? Like, I literally have no job. Like, I have like now no money. And like, I was told that I would be paid, but like when things like that happen, like you can't,
don't know.
But you don't know. But also like, that money was like, that could have been in weeks' time. Like I was not going to get paid on like the 25th or whatever. It was going to be a long, long time until I received that. So I was like, what the hell am I going to do? And I actually like got really down about it. I sort of didn't want to like tell anyone, and I was just really embarrassed that like I just suddenly had no job, and also the fact that like I'd sort of like posted everywhere that I'd got this new job, you know, like I'd sort of built like
really excited about
yeah,
it.
like people were sort of followed my journey from FRA, and then like even more people followed my journey when I was like, I'm getting this job at like this amazing company. So I was just like, what the hell am I gonna do? And I've literally like blocked it out because I just did not enjoy it whatsoever. I was like, am I just gonna have to like go and just get a job like back at like where I worked at Reese? Yeah, like, and I was like, social media assistant, like that's quite like a rare job to find like part-time. Yeah. I've also got a uni. At the time it was 3 months until uni finished, and then people were saying to me, just like don't worry, like just focus on uni, like don't get a job. And it's like, that's I need hard. A job though. Like I need like a purpose for those other 3 days in the week, but also I needed money as well. Like, so it was just an absolute nightmare. I started sort of like applying for some jobs, like just like didn't really get anywhere, and then it was like a week, and then I waited until Ben had sort of made a formal announcement on socials before I did anything either, because I didn't want to like do that. I didn't want to like, because it was starting to get out on socials that like something's happening. Shut down. Yeah, like we were getting loads of views, loads of comments, like everyone's been silent, where's the founder, blah blah blah, and like I just didn't want to like jump on the hate train, so I just like stayed quiet for a bit, and then he made the formal announcement, and after that I was like, right, I can probably say something now as well. And I wrote this post on LinkedIn, or did I do the TikTok first? I can't remember. It might have been the TikTok first.
I remember seeing the TikTok.
I did the TikTok, and I was like, right, I need to be very careful about what I say, because I do not have any hatred towards like Skeptic or Ben whatsoever, and I didn't want to make it sound like you were angry. No, I didn't want to do that. But at the same time, from a social media point of view, it was an opportunity to probably get some views. Yeah. To sort of say those buzzwords on social media at the time, because the word Lux Collective was trending. It was trending. Yeah. So I made this video in my car and I posted it in the evening, and it like started going up. Like it got so many views. Yeah, it started going up to like, I don't know, 5,000, then it was sort of 7, then it was like 8, and then I like went to bed and it was like on 100. And from that, the response I got was crazy. Yeah. Good and bad. Mainly good, to be honest. People were mainly like supportive of you. For sure, yeah, for sure. Because that was the point of the video. The point of the video wasn't to say I have no job, like I need a job. It was more to say like, because at the time I posted the video, I didn't want to post the video until I had a job sort of lined up. So that's why I didn't post it for a while, because again, I was just obviously scared to show such vulnerability. So I still was trying to show it, but at the same time, I was showing it once I'd got a job lined up. And I basically just said how it made me feel as a person. Like, it doesn't matter who the company was. It was just the fact that I had been made redundant. Yeah, that feeling. And that suddenly, you know, things change overnight and I had, like, no purpose. I was sort of embarrassed to say anything. And, yeah, the response I got was crazy, of everyone just saying, like, oh, my God, don't worry about it. Like, I've been made redundant before. Like, everything will work itself out. Yeah. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And that must have been quite nice to actually hear as well. Yeah, it was. But what was even nicer was when I then did it on LinkedIn. And then I got loads of brands and companies message me, and I was like, oh my God, this is like, why did I do this sooner? Like, why did I post this sooner? But I had a message from this woman who I have followed for like a really long time. And she texted me on LinkedIn, and I was like, I thought it was fake. Like, I was like, oh my God. And she'd sent me the job description of like a content manager. And I was like, wow, like, you think I'd be capable of this? And it was really like a confidence boost that she thought, someone like her who I've admired and like watched her career and stuff, that she thought I could be capable of being a content manager. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, like, it was a very nice confidence boost. But at the time it was full time. So I couldn't commit to that because I knew I had to do uni. But she was like, don't worry, like, can I send you any freelance stuff? And I was like, for sure, like 100%. Then I got another message from a company, like another sort of like social first company. It was like head of social, who messaged me. But again, I think it was for a full-time position. And then I got another DM. I got a TikTok DM, weirdly, from another company that's based in Manchester. So like, unfortunately, like, that was no go. She probably didn't know that I was down here. So that definitely gave me a big confidence boost. And it was like, I probably, like, I am better than I think, because at the time I didn't feel like confident and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And what was more stressful was that I didn't really want to do social media anymore.
Yeah.
I was just like, I just wanted to do something new. But at the time, like, when you're made redundant and put in a position like that, I had to
just do anything.
Yeah, and I had to like resort back to my strengths, which is social media. Like, all those roles that people texted me about was social roles, because that's what I've been for like 2-3 years, and that's what my TikTok's about, that's what my LinkedIn's about. So like, it was no wonder that I was getting those sorts of roles, but I just didn't really want, deep down I knew I didn't want to do them. And then I spoke to, and this is where the personal branding comes in, because the next 2 jobs that I landed now being freelance are all through word of mouth. I spoke to someone who is like a growth consultant, and she put me in touch with 2 companies. One was a aromatherapy company that were based in London in like Oxford Street. It was such a nice office. And the other was Odd Muse. And at the time, the company was called Moods, the aromatherapy brand. It was really fun. It was a really cool product. But it just got a bit too much with uni. And I was just like, I'm so close to the end of uni, that needs to be my priority.
Yeah.
So I did Moods for about a month, and I then had to say, I'm really sorry guys, but I can't cope. Like, I've sort of taken on too much. And at the time I then started Odd Muse, and that was really where my heart was. Like, I enjoyed that work a hell of a lot more, and I had the flexibility of the working from home, because Amy's like back and forth from London. You know, when she's in London, I was busy, but when she's not, I'm working from home doing all the editing. So I know it sounds funny that I was like hated working from home and now I'm back to it, but being freelance, working from home,
it's different.
It has this different kind of like aura about it. Whereas when I was with Ben working from home, I sort of felt obliged to be at my laptop from like 9 till 5 or 4 or whatever. And if the work wasn't there, I was like, what the hell do I do? Whereas if I'm freelance,
you find things to do.
Yeah, but also it's like, if I'm done in 2 hours, I'm done in 2 hours. Yeah. Like, and I don't feel bad about then like coming here to do this today, because I did my work last night. So I have got a bit more of like a healthier relationship with working from home now. But the freelancing life is certainly not for me, I have to say. But it's just been like a placeholder, and I'm very grateful that I've been able to do this, because I am earning money, I am working, I have got a purpose. So even though it's not like a long-term thing, and I'm not like afraid to say that to like anyone that I work with, like, well, I'm not taking on anyone else, because in September when I graduate, I want a full-time role. So there's no point taking on anyone else. Yeah. So I'm sort of all at Odd Muse at the moment, and I'm just having an absolute blast.
Yeah. What's your favourite part about working with Odd Muse?
I always used to think that like it doesn't matter where I worked, what I was trying to sell. Whereas, because I started at here, and like I was having to sell level 3 courses and level 4 courses, I just sort of didn't think anything of it. And then when I went to Lots Collective, it was like bags, which again I had an interest in. And then at Moods, again, I didn't love the product. Like, it was cool, but I didn't like love it. Whereas like I love Odd Muse product, but I also
easier.
love sort of like the culture there, and it's just like more my vibe. And I used to think like that doesn't matter. Like, you can work, like it doesn't matter where you work. Yeah. But actually kind of does. Yeah. I feel like, well, it does for me anyway. So like, if you could say you can get a job at Odd Muse or you can get a job at Nike, I would pick Odd Muse, because I know even if Nike was like more money, let's say, which it probably would be because
it's Nike,
sportswear pays more, but I would still pick the company that I liked better and that I liked the product. Maybe I even shop from it myself. So that's definitely maybe like a piece of advice I'd recommend. Like, make sure you do actually have some love for the company, because it just will feel better and your work will just be a bit easier, rather than, especially in marketing when you're trying to sell something. Like, if I'm trying to sell like trainers, I just know my heart's
you're not interested
in it.
Yeah. So what, because you were saying you don't necessarily want to stay in freelancing. Yeah. What is sort of like your aim for the future?
So like I said, I'm pretty bored of social media now. I want to do something different. And when you're young, like that is what being young is about, is just trying to try different things. And I've done social media for like 2 years now, and I loved it at the time. I loved it, but it's just become like really hard, and it's just changing all the time. So many people are working in it right now, like, so when there's so many people working in it, like the salaries just come down as well. And I just want to do something new. I just want to learn a different skill. So I'm sort of trying to make a pivot into digital marketing, and learn about like ads and a bit more money and business focused rather than so creative. I used to think I was really creative, but I'm actually not. I'm probably just as creative as like a normal person, whereas I am a lot more logical and like
business minded.
And like numbers don't really like scare me, like even though I'm not that good at maths, like they don't really like put me off. Like one of my friends in like uni, when we have to do like Excel spreadsheets for it was like a data
consumer
analytics.
And data insights.
Yeah, it was like a data module, and we got this massive Excel spreadsheet from this brand, and we had to like go through and filter all the data. And she was like, "Oh my god, like I cannot do this. But I was like, I want to give this a go. Like these big, like I want to work on like a big spreadsheet. Like I'm quite fascinated about how that actually works. So from that, I'm like, I think digital marketing is probably the next thing I want to learn about and want to work in.
Yeah.
But if that's not right, I'll go work in something else. Like, and that is the whole point of like being young and trying to be in a company that maybe has lots of different industries that you could explore. So like, you know, if you worked in social media and then you sort of like felt your boss was approachable enough that you could say, hey, like I really like socials, but I really want to try I really like what so-and-so does. Like, could I maybe like help, or like could I pivot a bit into that? So that's kind of what I'm trying to do now. And I just sort of see my 20s as like just like learning and growing and being with a company or multiple companies. It doesn't really matter, but I just want to learn as much as I can.
Yeah.
And there's no better way to do that than probably like working for a company. And then I do think one day I do want to have like my own business, and I see sort of my 20s being learning and growing, and then my 30s implementing that. And there's this like one phrase that stuck with me, which is get rich on someone else's money. And that is basically climb that corporate ladder, get all that knowledge whilst getting sort of paid for it before you then go into business, and it's sort of all on you. Like, get rich at a company with your knowledge and then implement that for yourself. So that is sort of like my plan of action going forward. And I wanted to talk a bit about personal branding, because that is what has got me where I am now. And when I was made redundant, that was what saved me, because it's just so important, because it will get you opportunities, and it got me 2 jobs, and it might even get me my next. I've like never done a job interview. It's always, I've like applied for jobs, but like I've never been like through an interview process or whatever, because all the jobs that I've received are through word of mouth. And I literally believe I probably won't even do an interview or like apply through a job like through LinkedIn, because I always just resort back to like who I know, and the more you do that, the more people you will know. And it's just like learning, like it's a bit of like a switch in your brain, where like in your role, like you're in such a good place and a good opportunity to sort of like work that muscle of like learning how to like build that personal brand. And by doing like, all you need to do is like just literally using your initiative, and like say you saw someone on the street and like, wait, no, let me think of a good example. Like when someone came up on your For You page who used to come here, and you invited them onto the podcast. They come onto the podcast, and then if that is the last time you ever speak to them again, that is a bad way of building your network. What you would want to do is you would want to, you know, text them, share all the content you got with them. You know, you want to post on your LinkedIn, you want to tag them, and you want to continue to comment and like their pictures forever. Like literally forever. Because those people will come in handy when
at some point
you need them, or also when they need you. So that is why it's like essential these days, especially as like a student, when you need that role, you need a job. But even when you're like in a role, like some people think like, oh, like I've got a job, like why do I need a personal brand? Like I only need a personal brand if I want something. Like, but that is not the case, because I literally witnessed firsthand that like you can have a job and then not have a job. Like you are literally never safe when you are employed, and just having that in the back of your mind is always a good thing. And knowing that you can have a plan B, and that my plan B was my personal brand, that is going to save you.
So would you like to talk a bit about like your placements at the FRA?
For sure. So I have done one placement in my degree. I did it in August. So you're coming up to yours.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
So I got my placement at Joe Loves, which I saw that you went there the other day.
Yeah, for a focus group. Yeah.
I went there for 3 weeks and I had a blast. It was great. The team were really, really nice. I was there as sort of like a social media assistant, and what's nice in a placement is sometimes just shadowing someone, and I was sort of like assigned a person, and I was just like her second-hand man. You know, we did everything together. Like she'd just tell me what to do. And sometimes in a placement, like that's the best bet, because that's how you get to do so much. Whereas when you're sort of left to your own devices, it can be hard to ask for work, especially when some people are like really nervous to like ask for work. You know, you've never worked with these people, you don't know what their response is going to be. So definitely like having a person on your work placement who you sort of like shadow is a really good thing. I really liked it there. I did a vlog about it because at the time I worked here. So there is actually a vlog on the YouTube about my time there. Oh, you watched it?
I think I actually watched it before I even came to FRA, because I was really intrigued.
Think of it?
I can't lie, I watched it a while ago, but I was like, that's really cool. But I sort of didn't appreciate at the time, because I went to this focus group. I didn't appreciate it's a really small team. Yeah. Like there's not many people there at all.
It is really small, and from that job I did work out that I can't work with fragrance, because like I just get such a bad headache. Like I really don't like perfume. I like don't wear perfume because it just like every time I went home I literally had a massive headache. Really? And at the time they were bringing out this new scent and I literally hated it. But it was and everyone was spraying around the office. But yeah, so that taught me I didn't want to have a job with fragrance. But it was a really cool company to have in your CV. Yeah. And I do think that it's bad, but having well-known established companies on your CV, like I feel like it does get you a bit more noticed than having smaller companies on your CV, because especially in the personal branding world, like if you were to get a podcast, appear on a podcast or like a panel, they love to sell you by the company you work at. So I do think like when you're in the early stages of your career, like if you can get a role in a company that is quite big and it is well known, you know, whether that's M&S, Selfridges, Harrods, like all the brands, basically all the brands that the FRA work with, I do think that will help you in the future. And I also used to have this thing about like, do you work for a small company or do you work for a big company? And I've spoken to a lot of people about it, and every time someone came on the podcast, I'd ask them as well. Yeah. And they always used to say small company, but I don't know how I feel, because a small company is amazing because you get to do so much, but also you can probably be like worked into the ground at the same time. Yeah. Whereas in a bit more of an established company, you are just a bit better work culture. But then I do believe that you can go too established and be a tiny fish in a massive pond. So for me, someone like L'Oreal, that is an amazing company to work for, but I just couldn't. I feel like the progression there would be incredibly slow. Yeah. And if you spoke to any senior member of staff, they've literally probably been there for like 100 years. Yeah. Whereas a company like Luxe Collective, it was established, but it wasn't huge. It's those sort of mid-sized companies, you know, a team of 50 max. Yeah. It's those sorts of companies I think that students should be a part of. Yeah. Because there's going to be progression opportunities. You are not going to be worked into the ground, and you're going to, if you're working hard, your hard work's going to get noticed. Whereas in a massive corporation like L'Oreal, like even though
You're just a number.
exactly,
Yeah.
and I personally would just prefer to be in a bit of a smaller company. A lot of questions I also used to ask guests on the podcast was like brand or agency, and I mean, what do you think about that?
I think for me, I would sooner work in an agency to get like different experience with different companies.
Yeah.
But I think everyone's sort of different.
Yeah, you're right. Everyone is different. I used to be like brand,
Yeah.
and then I like was sort of open to agency work, but because I think I would like you, I like the variety, but at the same time, I'm a bit open-minded. It's hard to say when you've only experienced brand, but I think if I got the opportunity to work in an agency, I would, and like you should do the same too. Like any student should. Like I don't think you can be so set in stone so early in your career. Like you don't know what it's like working in an agency, and even though you do hear like horror stories, you also hear horror stories from brands.
Yeah,
and you have to be a certain type of person to work in an agency. And you'll only know that unless you try. You won't know that unless you try. Yeah. So if anyone's like watching, they're like, brand agency, I'd apply for both. Yeah. If you see an agency role, apply. If you see a brand role, apply, and just see how you go.
Yeah, I've got my placement at an agency actually.
Oh, have you? Do you know what agency?
Yeah, it's Carl Otto.
Oh my god, that's a really cool place to be. Yeah. How are you going to make the most of that experience? Well, I'm going to start interviewing you now.
Yeah, gosh, we're reverse roles. I don't know what I want to do yet, like with my life career-wise. I think there's like so many options in marketing and I don't know exactly what's right. But I think I'm shadowing someone who works in sort of like the brand management department because that's what I'm quite interested in. So I think I'm just going to sort of like hang around with them, follow them. I think like the week before, my mentor's going to call me and tell me sort of what's happening around that time. So I can sort of like prep a bit and like learn a bit about maybe like the company that they're working with or something like that. And yeah, I think generally, for any kind of placement or like any kind of like event or what's the word I'm looking for? Like summit or conference or something. Yeah. Just the best thing to do is just like, ask questions.
For sure.
Like that's literally the best
you're
way.
going to be in such an amazing opportunity to get to know some really cool people. And sometimes even just name dropping people. So like, you're going to have this experience. And then maybe in like a few months' time, you might be doing something, and then you might be like, "Oh my god, well, I know someone at X, like, I know someone who used to do marketing for like Calvin Klein," and it's just like again, that is just like using that muscle of like networking and personal branding, and that is what it just makes you come across like you know your stuff, you know people, you know what you're talking about basically. And a tip that I'm going to give people that I don't actually do that much anymore, but I did used to. When I was first sort of building my network, I read in this book, a good thing to do is to have basically a list of people, but not just your professional network, actually your personal friends as well, because it is so easy just to neglect friendships. And sometimes maybe like you're the same when you're so sort of career driven, sometimes friends do go on the back burner. Yeah. And like when you're in London all the time, sort of the last thing you want to do when you get home from work is like go meet a friend. Yeah. So I remember reading this book and it was like, have a list of personal friends and their numbers, and also professional network as well. And every now and then you like look back at that list and you literally probably like send a text to every single one of them. And that way you are nurturing like those relationships not just with your personal friends, but also with your network. And then when an event like being made redundant, or you want to, because you're not always made redundant, sometimes you just want a new job, you just want to change, you want more money or something maybe. Yeah. It's those people who you've built that relationship with who are going to help you, because people know as soon as you're just like using them when you want something. Whereas when you're nurturing these relationships whilst you're quite happy in a different role, they know that you're serious. And when you do need their help, they're going to want to help you because they know you more. Yeah. So that's probably like a top tip of mine. And I haven't looked at my list for ages now, but maybe on the train home I might update it. Have a little and also have their emails as well. So for your placement, that would be an amazing thing to do. Yeah. List those people, get their emails, because you will get their emails because you're going to work there. So you will like have a work email maybe, and like maybe their LinkedIn profile as well. And that way you will always, even their phone number, sometimes you get phone numbers. That way you'll always be able to reach out. Yeah. Perfect. Is there anything else you wanted to add to the end of this episode, or are you all
all done.
So, unless you have any other questions.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast
That's
today.
okay.
Is it weird to be on the other side?
It's quite nice being on the other side, actually.
Just get to talk.
No, I've missed chatting because I can chat for ages.
Yeah.
But it's been fun and I literally can't wait to see this go live.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening or watching today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed seeing Megan on the other side. And yeah, see you next time.